Over the last few months, we've been seeing tons and tons of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero content, either in a gameplay video, a collection video, or a review video. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at the worst review video I've ever seen. I haven't seen this video yet, not in its entirety. I've seen some clips from other YouTube creators, and I really thought we should check it out today. If you guys enjoyed, please share, like, comment, subscribe. And you know how I know this is bad? Is because I spent more time, reading the comments than I did actually reacting to the video. I was like, I have to just actually watch this video on in a video format for me to actually pay attention to it. So, time to get rage baited. Let's sit back and watch.
Can you spot what's wrong with these two Dragon Ball Z games? They show the same scene. Goku and Vegeta
is anything wrong? Like, what?
Battling it out in a Utah-looking desert. It's a classic clash that took DBZ into the modern era. And with the new engine, you can likely pick out which one is the newest game, Sparking Zero.
Okay.
But which one
Not
is
a bad
the second
start.
newest? Does the game
Wait, which one is the second newest? Xenoverse 2. Okay, I'm dumb.
different? Faster? Smoother? Tighter?
Okay, we're gonna be fair here. If he has a good point, we're gonna say it's a good point. I feel like that's fair to do. But if he says something that's just bullshit, we're gonna call it bullshit. That's what we're here to do. And I've heard some bullshit takes from this guy. That's why we're here.
Besides the graphics,
all right,
it's almost impossible to tell. And that's a problem. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is looking to switch up the DBZ Arena Fighter formula. But the truth is, it fails to switch up the formula at all. There have been...
The formula's the same, no? It's just another Tenkaichi game? Am I dumb for that? No. They say this is the latest Tenkaichi series. This game is meant to play like Budokai Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3. Again, already a bad start, but we'll just look.
DBZ franchise. From the Sublime...
And let me know. You guys give me your thoughts down below, too. I need to make sure that I don't sound crazy in this video. If I say something that's wrong, correct me on it. If I say something you agree with, let me know. Dragon Ball FighterZ, the GOAT.
But when Dragon Ball started using a
Evolution
boilerplate Arena Fighter template back in 2002 with the introduction of the Budokai series, the franchise has felt like it's been stuck in a hyperbolic time chamber. With over 20 different DBZ Arena Fighters released in the past 20 years...
I should say this. I'm going to say in Dragon Ball's defense, they're very good at like switching up gameplay titles. I don't know if you guys have noticed, Dragon Ball games aren't often, in the last like decade anyway, Dragon Ball games aren't like the same game back to back, except Xenoverse 1 and 2, which is like the one time we got a sequel in the last decade. But like Fusions is very different than Xenoverse 2. Kakarot is very different than Xenoverse 2. FighterZ is very different than Kakarot. Breakers is very different than FighterZ. Dragon Ball Multi is very different than Sparking Zero. Like, that's just like in the last, like, what, 10 years? I know, to be fair, this is like pre-2014, so I guess a lot of these games are. These two are not. I think Xenoverse came out in 2014, right? I'm not sure.
Sparking Zero promises to be more of an exercise in nostalgia than an actual competitive fighting game.
But she's got a new hat.
Is it meant to be a competitive fighting game? I feel like people are gonna make it a competitive game where they'll just do tournaments and stuff like that, but I don't think it's meant to be a competitive fighting game. That's already wrong take.
Dragon Ball fans,
we're a minute in and I'm already
Full disclosure, I've been a huge...
I like this. Dragon Ball fans deserve better. You're not speaking for us, bro.
Dragon Ball fan since I stumbled across it on Spanish access television.
And I should mention, this guy is not a small channel at all. He's 2.2 million subscribers. That's not small one bit. And he's not small. He's big enough to the point where Bandai reaches out and tells him, do you want to review our game? Honestly, if this is his opinions, go ahead and explain it. But I feel like he's rage baiting at this point. There's no way.
Dragon Ball. Okay, it means more to me than any other animated franchise. I name my cat Piccolo and sometimes dress him up like Lord Beerus. That's why I need Dragon Ball Z to do better. Looking back on the past is comforting, but we can't live in it forever. Okay,
you see, that's a fair point. Like, but this game is meant to be that. Dragon Ball doesn't really have a lot of games where they just go back to the old formulas. I would love it if a Fusions 2 came out. That's the game I want the most. FighterZ 2 actually is the game I want the most, but Fusions 2 would be
either a
perfect.
Transformative
but
leap forward.
To his point, I do get, like, I don't like. It is going back to Tenkaichi, but that's the point of this game, though. Like,
for the series, or a sequel to the only transcendent Dragon Ball game over the last decade.
That's what I'm playing. He almost got me to his side. FighterZ 2 is the game I want the most.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and
this game I'm very excited for.
The fears were confirmed. This is deja vu all over again. Now, the Sparking Zero graphics are the best they've ever been. And I applaud them for having destructible environments and trees that sway when hit with key power.
Let me make sure.
Graphics alone do not make a game. When you dissect a match, it's much slower than it looks. Real impact and damage is far apart. And it doesn't...
I think that's the earliest build. I think they literally sped up the game. Like the game, if you put it side by side, the game is physically faster in the newest build than it is in the old one. Like they actually, like, the moves come out faster now. I saw something about that, and I'm 99% sure.
Real impact and damage is far
Here it does
apart.
look a bit slow.
And it doesn't have the back and forth, keep them guessing momentum battles of top fighting games.
Okay,
We're seeing stagnation.
Fighting, bro. I think like that's a big point that he's just making is that it's not like a fighting game. This is not meant to be a fighting game. It's an arena fighter. This is a fighting game where like 2D and 3D aspects that you're meant to just deplete the opponent's health bar like that. Obviously, like Street Fighter is one of my favorite top 5 games ever. I love Tekken. I've played. I think that's not Melty Blood actually. Never mind. I've not played that. And Mortal Kombat. Yeah, those are fighting games. Like that. Don't bring them up.
We're seeing stagnation in the gameplay sphere, where Sparking Zero is extremely similar to the last several dozen Dragon Ball arena fighters. It feels more like the return of the EA Sports College Football franchise than a new spin on Dragon Ball. Updated graphics.
He's rage baiting. He's rage baiting. He just said fighters. Fighters came out in 2018. That's not an arena fighter. Kakarot came out in 2020. That's not an arena fighter. We haven't had one in the last 8 years. Like, what?
With familiar controls. And I need to talk about those controls, because if you've ever wondered what it's like to be one of the Z fighters, turn elsewhere, because the controls are not great. Dragon Ball is...
They're customizable. Nigga, you made the controls. What?
At its best when it delivers on fighting and yelling. And Sparking Zero does have a dedicated yell button. Yelling makes your special bar max out. And then you can pull off bigger moves and Kamehamehas. But
I didn't actually realize it's R2.
Powering up free
Raging Blast, I remember it was like down D-pad. And I think it was like that for Budokai, right? I'm not sure. I played on Wii Remote.
While your special bar fills up, leaving you vulnerable to attack. Sure, that's part of DBZ, but it still makes the game feel clunky. And here's why.
Am I dumb? Is he not using any footage that he got? I feel like all this footage is from trailers. So my guess is he probably played it at like a convention.
The controls are too complex for casuals, but not technical enough for hardcore gamers. It's been 20 years since Dragon Ball Budokai 1,
no.
And transitioning from ground to air combat is still
yeah, this is someone else's... Look at that. You can see someone else's Twitch chat down there.
Awkward.
This is Toon Rami's. Like, go back.
Ground to
That's
air
Toon
combat
Rami's.
is still awkward.
I can see his logo.
Locking on doesn't feel right. Ascending and descending could be streamlined. And it's not always clear if you whiffed a beam because of something you did, or if you just weren't on the right plane. You might even find yourself fighting underwater, but it doesn't slow you down or change anything at all. It just puts on a slightly different filter.
He's complaining that you can go underwater? Does that not speak to... He was complimenting the stages earlier. I think that just speaks to how cool the stages are, right? What? But I know in the old Dragon Ball games, you charge underwater, you would charge slower. But I don't know if that's true for this game.
The best fighting
There's
games,
a gameplay difference.
Like Street Fighter, Tekken, and Under Night In-Birth, feel like you're
again not a fighting game,
gathering power, and pushing a button to release it. There's an emphasis on frame advantage, timing, and spacing that can mean the difference between victory and defeat.
Okay.
It becomes more of a dance at a higher level. Meanwhile,
again, yeah, you're describing a fighting game. That is a fighting game. This is not a fighting game. He complains that it's an arena fighter, and then says it's a fighting game, and then compares it directly to like Street Fighter. Like he's already contradicting himself right there, which makes no sense. Again, but if you put Street Fighter on the screen, I'm a bit gawked at it. So I love Street Fighter.
Sparking Zero feels like you're controlling a tank from very far away, and it's frustrating. Even the best fighting games can sometimes devolve into button mashing, but this is so counterintuitive.
Guilty Gear is not that much button mashing, I promise you. Wait, FighterZ is more button mashing than Guilty Gear. I play Guilty Gear too, but literally FighterZ, you're more prone to just mash auto combo. There's no auto combo in Guilty Gear. You can't do that. It's all just combos that you gotta learn. Yeah, he's rage baiting.
Have you ever watched a Dragon Ball
This
fight?
is someone else's
it's all
commentary too, or commentary video.
A knockdown and a beam to finish it. It's awesome to watch. But when you're watching Goku punch so fast that those frames repeat, or is moving faster than your eyes can clock, that's primarily so animators don't have to draw as much. But it doesn't translate well to gameplay. Playing it is a different beast. It sucks all the energy out of something that, in the anime, was deliberately paced that way to save budget. So, What does...
Is he complaining the game's fast now? No.
Playing it is a different beast. It sucks all the energy out of something that, in the anime, was deliberately paced that way to save budget. So...
He's complaining that it's faster now? Was he not just complaining that it was slow? And I had to say that that's the old build? Yeah. Yeah, you just... I disliked it? Yeah, I disliked it. Good.
What does Sparking Zero have going for it? Well, for one, there's a huge roster.
True.
Unfortunately, there's almost no
How's he going to complain about that? Let's hear. There it is.
A lot of the characters share animations and combos. Functionally,
that's the same.
They're probably closer to...
He's just showing the Kamehameha from different characters. Okay, nice.
With 182 slots, who's champing at the bit to play characters like Nail and Kakunsa? If they're going to go all out, I want some crazy characters. Bulma in a robot. Taco's shirt Krillin. World Tournament announcer. Farmer with a shotgun. Pay tribute to Toriyama by having one of his self-inserts be playable. There's an aspect of power scaling in Sparking Zero that's supposed to reflect the show's lore.
Why is the game so zoomed in too, bro? Okay, let me actually go back and make some comments about this. This is actually such a stupid complaint. Who wants to play them?
No champion at the bit to play characters like Nail.
There's fans for every character. I literally remember in my last video there was a guy who has a Supreme Kai profile picture and he was upset that he wasn't in the game. I don't give two shits if Supreme Kai's in the game, but there's fans for everybody. So someone cares about Nail.
And Kakunsa.
Someone cares about Kakunsa. Why would you complain that they're in the game and ask for Taco shirt Krillin?
Bulma in a robot. Taco's shirt Krillin. World Tournament announcer.
This nigga don't fight.
A shotgun.
No, he's trolling.
Toriyama by having one of his self-inserts be playable. There's
oh my god.
An aspect of power scaling in Sparking Zero that's supposed to reflect the show's lore. Someone like Super Saiyan Blue Goku hits several times harder than Yamcha, which he well should, but that's a poor substitute for balance. Other games represent power differential matchups by showing different moves and impact. Still, because every Sparking Zero character feels the same with only slight differences, the best we can hope to get is the occasional character-specific power-up animation. But exploring a bunch of...
But not specials, but not costumes, not names, not special attacks, combos, whatnot. But okay, I want to hear what you say about Street Fighter, though. Let me
different martial arts styles?
Again, should not be complaining about Street Fighter towards... Or should not be comparing Street Fighter to Sparking Zero. But I am curious to see what this is. Like what?
Whether it's MMA or drunken boxing, brings life into fighting games. Street Fighter 6 launched with 18...
There's aliens, gods, Majins, humans, all in the game. And he's saying Street Fighter's better because they have drunken fighting styles.
Exploring a bunch of different martial arts styles, whether it's MMA or drunken boxing, brings life into fighting games. Street Fighter 6 launched with 18 characters. For the most part, they played differently and oozed with unique styles. Grapplers.
Okay, he did say for the most part, because I was going to say, Ryu and Ken are like, or basically the same moves. Akuma has the same moves as them. Luke is the same thing, but again, Sparking Zero, let's focus.
Zone types, stance types, and a bunch more. Chun-Li has a different philosophy behind her than Zangief and demands a different playstyle. This doesn't really seem to be the case in Dragon Ball, where all characters are slight variations of Goku. Sparking Zero...
I can see the complaint there. That's obviously not everyone's cup of tea, but there are variations of it. It's not literally copy-paste. It's Goku early, Goku mid, Goku end. Like, yeah, it does sound very repetitive. That speaks to, like, one of the, like, wrong things about Sparking Zero. Not even wrong, like a nitpick, I guess. But they do play different. There is, like, special moves that they do differently. Their combos, I bet, are going to be a little different at least. But, yeah. That complaint, I can hear it.
Normal and big. It's not an entirely new mechanic, but it was a bit different to play as Uzaro Vegeta, a giant ape form that moved very slowly and had harder punches. But the controls are so floaty and tanky to begin with, it felt more frustrating than anything. So once you've played one character, you've basically played them all. Dragon Ball Z games might be all about fighting and yelling,
that's
but
PS3's
Dragon Ball
gameplay
as a whole is so much more. And the games have a hard time.
How much you want to bet he didn't credit them? In the... Yeah, you're not getting credited.
Confidence to the forefront.
Dragon Ball game we all want. What do we want? Let's hear it.
Goku himself was heavily influenced by Journey to the West. With his monkey tail, super strength, and martial arts abilities, as well as his mischievous nature, Goku is a modern-day...
I almost said Black Myth Wukong sounds like this nigga just wants to play that. Go, do that. Like,
Sun Wukong. As a matter of fact, Sun Wukong translates to Son Goku in Japanese, and the first Dragon Ball series especially reflects that. It's far more grounded and focused on exploration. There are moments along the way that would be perfect for a new game. For all the talking cats and horny sidekicks Goku might come across, there's a sense of world building that's missing when it's conveyed solely through punching. The anime hinges on big moments and relationships, like escaping the Red Ribbon Army with Bulma,
let me finish this point.
or meeting Yamcha for the first time, or just how many bonds were formed during the first World Martial Arts Tournament. This game strips out all the context for these deep, meaning.
So he wants a story game. There's Kakarot. You go play that. They have Dragon Ball in there. Go play Kakarot.
Full friendships the Z family is built on. I don't fault Sparking Zero for being one thing or turning it into a gameplay type, but Dragon Ball is many things. You might think, well, Sparking Zero has a dedicated story mode, but at this point we've seen it. Dragon Ball game.
That's what ifs are for. You make them. Custom battles, you make them. Like,
games tread the same ground until
it's like complaining about your Subway order. You made that. Your Chipotle order. You made that.
Paved over. The Game Boy games, Legacy of Goku, retold the Z story, but had Goku punching wolves. Kakarot retold the Z story in its entirety. Xenoverse retold the story with some what-if and time travel elements and included a somewhat lacking create a character. Sparking Zero also has a story mode.
This is Xenoverse, but this is Xenoverse 2 for that reason. I'm just saying.
It'll be thin, because we've seen it before. Where are the well-thought-out stories that challenge the player's perceptions rather than regurgitate it? Heck, where's the story of Dragon Ball pre-Z? How far will we get in the manga?
Kakarot.
Will we get manga only?
Kakarot. Literally has that. You just went over Kakarot.
Characters like Moro? Why not play through some of the less loved but still incredible movies like Super Android 13? Or have Janemba's Hell as a stage? What about a baseball mode? There's so much ancillary content in the Dragon Ball
how much
world
is
that
left?
is ripe for an adaptation that unfortunately will be left out for the greatest hits. And it could be a better love letter and feel like less of a money grab if
he's literally making this up. There are games for that. There are games that go over pre-Dragon Ball Z. There are games that have baseball modes. Actually, does Kakarot have a baseball mode? I think they have one mini game that's a baseball mode. That's it. But you're literally just asking for shit that's not for the game. He's complaining that it's a fighting game, then complains that it's not a story game, then complains about the story itself, then complains about everything else. Like,
they were acknowledged. Instead, we just get Frieza blowing up Krillin for the millionth time. In my opinion, Dragon Ball FighterZ is a much better use of the license and still has a robust, dedicated fan base after 6 years. Ultimately, a sequel to that series would be a better overall direction for the franchise. It's had just...
I don't think Fighters 2 or Sparky Zero would halt a Fighters 2. There are different companies that make it. Chunsoft makes, Spike Chunsoft, I think, makes Sparking Zero. Arc System makes Fighters. They're two different companies. But yeah, there is Bandai in the middle that helps fund it, I think. But that's about it. Fighters obviously is a very gorgeous game and a very good use of Dragon Ball. But Tenkaichi is like the Dragon Ball game. The Dragon Ball game. This is like a very niche like group of people who love fighters, who love fighting games, and who love Dragon Ball. So it's much more less like it's a less popular game.
Just one main release and a handful of DLC over the last 6 years, and is a fresh take.
Over half the roster is DLC. That's not a handful.
On the series, which is weird considering it's a 2D fighter. It's fast-paced and competitive, so much so that it had a presence at the EVO tournament for 5 of the last 6 years. There are 44 characters, and for the most part, they play differently and include some fighting game archetypes that aren't present in arena fighters. It's relatively balanced with only a few insanely OP characters, but they
not
literally
anymore.
Just released
everybody's busted and everybody can kill you with one touch. That doesn't
the patch for that. And the graphics are still gorgeous.
Are you still talking about fighters? God damn.
It needs more stages and the menus are clunky, but that's true for most Dragon Ball games. Some moments that evoke nostalgia, like Gohan and Goku's iconic father-son Kamehameha, would be a whole ass level in a Budokai game.
Oh wait, there's no story in Fighters. Why didn't you complain about that?
There's the Budokai series just give the fans...
No, there is, but it's not... No, okay, that's a bad point for my part.
We all came to see from the jump. FighterZ does the same thing in special moves that only last a few seconds. There's so much more to mine there that going back to Arena Fighters for another release...
Hey, where's FighterZ's baseball mode, bro? I'm just saying. Oh, that would make the game a 10 out of 10. No baseball mode? It's a shit game, bro. I don't know what he's talking about.
Feels like a step backward. The games industry has a bad habit of releasing rinse and repeat sequels, and we tend to reward it by buying every new sports game or Call of Duty year after year. At least
Sparky Zero outsold Call of Duty when it comes to pre-orders, which is really funny that he says Call of Duty specifically.
COD has a different story every time, but Dragon Ball still...
Yo, saying Call of Duty is a different game is hilarious.
treads familiar ground. Want to see Goku sacrifice via special beam cannon in the Saiyan saga? Here it is, but you can switch to a first-person camera this time. Ultimately...
Or step out the way, because there's a mode now where Goku lives it.
Dragon Ball needs something more artful in execution. Whatever the Dragon Ball equivalent to Slow Clap's 2021 game Sifu, a 2D, 3D phase-shifting game like Pokken Tournament, or maybe something tight and technical with balanced ranged and melee combat, like Armored Core 6. According to Bandai...
Does that not look like... Am I dumb if I see that looks like an Arena Fighter itself? It literally is, no?
According to Bandai sales data, the Dragon Ball franchise has experienced diminishing returns since 2020. It requires innovation if it's going to continue at this clip. So why go back to the well for another nostalgia fest?
Because that's what we want. No? People have been asking for Tenkaichi 4 for 15 years. What? Like, people will be asking for a FighterZ 2 for 10 years. And then when FighterZ 2 comes out, are you going to say, who wanted that shit? Like...
Being the official Tenkaichi 4 could be the kick in the pants the franchise needs. But I think a new, exciting direction is the way to go. This game will no doubt sell millions on name recognition alone. But I think its impact will quickly fade.
Oh my God.
I don't think we'll talk about it the same way years after release. I hope I'm proven wrong, though. A lot of people look back...
I got good news for you, bro. I think custom battles alone is going to keep this game for a decade at least. Like, people will be playing... People still play Xenoverse 2 today. You can boot up Xenoverse 2 right now if you want, and people will still be playing it 100%. Yeah, this game will last that long, too.
Fondly and call Tenkaichi 3 a high watermark. And they deserve to be happy too. One of my friends is really excited about this game and couldn't give a flying nimbus about the game style being played out. I hope DBZ Sparking Zero is more than the same thing in prettier packaging. I hope it outdoes itself and is more fun than I got from the matches I played. Maybe it'll exceed expectations.
He didn't include any gameplay that he played. So I assume he had to have been an event, because this is not his gameplay, 100%. And it's really zoomed in, which is so stupid too. Like, let's edit our videos, bro.
Mine are very tempered. In the meantime, I'll be open for a better use of the license.
Yo, I hope so too, bro. Just goddamn. Let's look at some comments. The comments are, the comments have more likes than the video itself. Crazy. Blah, blah, blah. I don't like Arena Fighters. Just saved you 30 minutes of your time. Well, it's been more. Yeah. He's saying in Street Fighter, you do the same thing in Mortal Kombat. We gave bro freedom of speech. Yeah, these combos are rightfully tearing this guy up. Hey, guys, go check out this video and... No, I'm playing. Go check out this video if you want to, like, hurt your ears, I guess. Horrible take. Disgusting take. Yeah, I'm done. Okay, if you guys enjoyed, please share, like, comment, subscribe. That out of the way. Peace.